welcome back to Sacred Fertility Talks. We are still riding the wave of our Call in the Baby series, and today we adding a little bit twist. We're gonna talk about food, not just any food, but we're gonna talk about summer foods that actually support the fertility, help you regulate the menstrual cycle, and even ease those cracky joint, arthritic joint that normally showed up, especially if you live in the Gulf course. It's all connected. So my name is Dr. Pamela, and joining me today is my favorite human in the world, fertility coach and total food nerd in the best way, Dr. Erin.
Hi, I am definitely a food nerd. I love it. I can talk about all the nerdy parts of food all day long.
Perfect.
So, I think we decided to talk about this because we both live on the Gulf Coast, and I'm sure a lot of people listening live in a hot place, even if it's not here because everything's getting hot these days. But just sitting here, I'm looking out my window. It was like 95 degrees 30 minutes ago. Then we just had this epic downpour, and you can see the steam and the humidity just rising off the pavement. And everything gets confused. The flowers are like, I'm so thirsty and dry. And then they get so much rain that they're like, now they're soggy. And I just think that happens in our bodies too. When you have these big fluctuations between heat and dampness and humidity, it just makes it hard to know how to care for yourself. So we wanted to talk about summer food, meaning foods that grow in the summer that match the climate and help your body process it on an internal environment. That's what we're talking about.
So the condition that Erin was just talking about in traditional Chinese medicine, they call it damp heat, meaning 1 minute it's raining, the other after 10 minutes is like humidity, like blazing sun. So the combination of these two, it makes the body hard to process the information, and the organ that normally get affected is the spleen. So remember, the spleen is the organ of digestion. That's the reason why we're talking about food. But also, spleen also the important organ that support the fertility, not just like building blood, support the digestion, but holding the baby in, not like have a recurrent miscarriage. All right. So if you're not trying to get pregnant or not trying to receive pregnancy, this information that we're going to talk about also applicable to those that no longer menstruating. Those that you say, oh, I have joint pain. I feel bloated all the time. I'm no longer planning to get pregnant. But this is all still applicable to you to support your physical and also emotional balance, right, Erin?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that we're all guilty of, especially here in the deep South, when it gets really hot, we switch what we want to eat, what sounds good to us, and we tend to make a lot of sticky, damp food choices. And those are things that are actually going to make what's going on outside worse in our body. So when it's the summer and it's hot outside and you don't really feel like cooking and all that stuff, people eat a lot of cold salads and tuna fish and things like that, where we're adding a lot of mayonnaise and pimento cheese and things that are kind of gooey, and everybody's making smoothies. And basically, although those things feel good in the moment, they're not really good for us to stack through our days all day long, all summer long. It really produces what we call a damp environment. So what's happening outside with like the humidity and feeling starts to happen inside too. And so what we're going to talk about today is adding in some other strategies that helps to purify that stuff out of the body and get rid of it, so it's cooking light and easy. You can't just eat cold all day long because it's hot outside. You want to modify what you're doing with, you can hear that thunder. You want to modify what you're doing with some of these nice, light, detoxifying foods that takes the burden off your body and helps things get caught up and start processing. So that's where we're headed.
Yes. So let's talk about food. Let's get into this all good stuff. So what should we be eating to help with all of this?
These all might be things that don't feel like your norm. And that's okay. That's partly why we're telling you about these, because
Yes.
these are not always the things that you reach for in the grocery store. So, the
Mhm.
first thing we're going to talk about is mung beans, MUNG beans.
Yes.
You go to a Thai food restaurant or probably a Vietnamese restaurant and
Yeah.
get a hot soup pho, and it's got the big pile of bean sprouts on the side. Those
Yes.
are mung bean sprouts. So it's
Mhm.
that little itty bitty green bean. But that little green bean is a superfood. It's a powerhouse, and it's essentially what we would call a damp heat clearing food. So the things in your body that make you feel sticky, icky, swollen, puffy, and lethargic, that is gonna, those mung beans, when you cook them, they help clear out your system. They're really good for bowel movements
Yes.
and getting things situated in the guts, but they're not cold and raw. We cook them, we make a nice gentle soup out of them. And so you get that subtle warming energy that the spleen really likes, but you still get a cooling effect in the body. So that's kind of the thing. You don't have to just eat cold food to cool your body down. You eat food that flushes and opens the system, that cools your body down, and it also gets rid of inflammation. So we're doing
Mhm.
mung beans. And you can just do that. You can make a soup out of them. You can cook them, and then there's just a lot of different ways. But you can also do the sprouts. The little bean sprouts themselves are excellent for.
Yeah. Let's pull up the picture for this. So probably some of this audience or listener not able to visualize what we're talking about. So let's do that.
Pamela and I were just saying, I think at this point you can probably find them at Publix. You can definitely find them in an Asian market or an Asian grocery store. I know the health food store where we shop frequently at Everman, they usually have them. So they're around. And of course, you can always order some of this stuff on Amazon if you can't find, because they're dried. They'll come to you dried. You don't have to buy fresh. While
Yeah.
she's looking for that, there it is.
There you go.
There we go. Look at those. They're so pretty and green and bright, and they just are so full of nutrition.
Yes. So when it gets the other form, when you look this mung bean, you're gonna get a bean sprout.
My girlfriend just brought me a bean
Yeah.
sprout.
It looks like this.
There you go. They're the nice,
Yeah.
long, white, kind of translucent, and
Yeah.
they're actually full of protein. And the other thing, here's food nerd coming out.
Yes.
So let's just take a minute. If we are someone who is ready to receive a pregnancy, I want you to think about what a sprout is. In this picture, you see that the bean itself is green, right? It's dormant. It's not ready yet. And then once you've sprouted it, it's alive. So bean sprouts, pea shoots, anything that goes from that state of I'm not really living to I'm going to grow a plant is the representation of generating life. It
Yes.
has 100% pure chi energy. So,
Yes.
right?
Nothing to something. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the whole idea that we can take something that doesn't exist and grow something from it. So I would like all of the ladies and gents to partake of that. It can be pea shoots, bamboo shoots, sunflower sprouts, whatever.
Mm.
Anything that has that grow up green energy is going to really enhance that conception chi we talk about.
Yes. So again, Erin was talking about the fertility cases, but for those that no longer want to get pregnant, this is for the post-menopause people, right? Not just like female, also applicable to men as well. This is a great food for that as well. It helps gently move the stagnation. During this season also, most people get alternating constipated and diarrhea, and the smell of the poop is always foul. They will tell you, oh my God, I noticed my poop is so stinky. So of course it's the damn heat, right? So the bean sprout actually, just think of what Erin said, from nothing to something. It moves the chi so you can go poop nicely without any strong smell.
You don't have to eat a whole bowl full. It's
Yeah.
not food that you sit down because then you'll probably have diarrhea. So it's just a little bit. It's a topping, it's a condiment. You just sprinkle it on your salad. You put a little bit on the sandwich or over the piece of fish that we're going to talk about. But you're always wanting to ignite some of that clean, transformative energy. You don't think it doesn't feel like a lot at the time, but when you look at it, global perspective, we're talking about, it does a huge thing for your body.
So moving forward, the next superfood that we like, purple potatoes are also known as the Okinawan potatoes. You want to talk about that, Dr. Erin?
I love these. They're so beautiful and they have that real vibrant purple color. And so we know that colorful foods have more phytochemicals.
Yes.
Basically, they have more mojo in them. So compared to a white potato, these purple potatoes, one, they're not as starchy. They don't have the same carbohydrate construction. So for people that have to watch that, these are better. And two, you have that bold, bright color. And even though they're all purple potatoes, there is some different varieties. So you can find them at different stores. The place where I shop recently has had the round purple potatoes, but they've also had the weird little fingerling potatoes that are long and skinny. I just buy them, whatever is available. My kids love them. And I serve them all throughout the summer. And I like to mix them. We have a big storm coming. I like to mix them with some fresh herbs. I like to use olive oil and some lemon and some chopped dill or parsley, and it just really punches up that flavor.
I normally just bake them or just like steam them. It's just like a good breakfast for me. And then you can put a little bit butter if you like to. And then you just drink it with a drink with green tea in the morning. It's just so satisfying. And it helps you stabilize your blood sugar. This is for those that have trouble stabilizing their blood sugar. Purple potato is very good for that.
Warms the spleen, but it also is anything that's purple usually has a circulation aspect to it too. So we're talking about that humidity in the body. You want to circulate it. So that's what those purple potatoes are going to do.
Yep. And it's also great for those that have a puffy face. They say, oh my God, what happened to my knee? What happened to my face? Yeah. But when you just drink it, eat this one or you make a soup out of it, right? It basically make you pee a lot, but in the good way. And then you can tell your face gonna get skinnier and your knee gonna get better. No more swollen ankle or knee. All right. So moving forward, we have cucumbers before we talk about bitter greens. So
I feel like this one's pretty obvious. When you think about a cucumber, it just makes you go, oh, it's so refreshing. So cucumbers are natural hydrators. And we always talk about it in these podcasts, the yin, right? It's not just water. We're drinking our water, but we want yin. We want activated water. You want water that has the fluids and the minerals and the salts and the different things in there that actually contain some life. And cucumbers is one of those. So same thing, if you overdo the cucumbers, it might give you an upset tummy. But it's a garnish. You make a cucumber salad, and Dr. Pamela is going to tell you how you can even cook a little cucumber and steam it up and take some of that raw aspect away.
yes. So the way that I make my cucumber, I cut it into cube size. And then what's that other one? I usually mix it with a little bit of nuts.
Sesame seed or no? Nuts.
No, I forgot the name. It's the crunchy nuts. It's not walnut, the other kind of nuts. That's fine. I just remember the nuts. But anyway, and you cut cube of chicken. So everything has to be in the same size for visual appearance. The Thai food normally have that.
Peanuts.
Yes, not peanuts. There is another shape of that. Sorry.
Cashew.
Cashew.
Cashew. I was going to get to it.
Yes. Cashew has the fat that make it taste better. So cucumber cube.
Cashew has a little bit of sweet taste.
Yes. So cucumber, cube chicken, and then cashew nuts. And then you mix it together, put some sea salt, right? Oh, heaven. You
My
eat it
dog
a little bit.
she loves cucumber and she likes to make it herself. So she'll slice up the cucumber and she does it kind of like we used to get at the Japanese restaurant where she'll use ponzu sauce. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically soy sauce or tamari with some lime, some citrus and some soy mixed together, and then a little bit of chili oil, that little chili paste that
Yeah,
gives it that a little pungent, gives
yeah.
it a little warmth, and oh, it's so good. So I can hand her a plate of that while we're cooking dinner, and that's her snack.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right, the last one that we're gonna share is the bitter greens, arugula, dandelion, mustard greens. So you can get all of this at the grocery store. Publix has all of this. So you want to tell everybody what is this for, Erin?
So
So
if you overdo it, the flavor of bitter is the primary function of it is to clear heat. It takes energy that's going up and makes it go down. So anything that you eat that's bitter, it kind of gives you that pucker almost. Oh, that's bitter. But what that does is it astringes your body and makes everything go down. So bitter is also very bowel stimulating. That's why coffee does what it does.
yes.
So these little bitter greens, again, you're not eating giant bowls full of it. You
Oh.
want to add a little bit of that bitter flavor into something you're already doing. So let's say you're going to have a nice big salad, but instead of having a salad with ranch dressing and a bunch of heavy, sticky stuff, we want to increase its digestive function a little bit. So you can chop up some of the arugula or the dandelion and toss it into the salad, and it
Mhm,
kind of activates the
mhm,
salad and modifies it a little bit. With
mhm,
things like mustard greens and collards and some of those other bitters, you do want to cook them a little bit, but you don't have to cook them Southern style. You don't have to cook them for 8 to 10 hours with sugar and all that. It tastes great. But you can take that little bit of greens, chop it up, and like Pamela said, if you made some mung bean soup or just a broth base, you can just toss a handful of those greens in there and let them soak for a few minutes, and they'll get nice and soft and tender, but they still contain their properties. So there's a lot of ways to just pepper in bitter into foods you're already eating. What do you
mhm.
say, Dr. Pamela? How do you like yours?
Oh, yeah, I'll do the same thing. So another tips. So when you want to do the salad, you don't feel like cooking. So you eat this thing in the afternoon because you follow the energy of the day. When the sunshine is bright, that's when you have to balance it with something cooling. But when you want to eat during nighttime, right? So I encourage you to just lightly stir fry them. So if you do not want to stir fry them, you still want to eat it raw, right? Make sure you include a little bit of ginger. Like
Mhm.
things ginger, it's just like help warm the stomach and help you eat or digest the food properly. So you don't get stomach ache or you're not gonna get diarrhea.
Right. Think about it. Asian restaurants really, they give you a great representation of how to do that. You go to the sushi restaurant and you're going to eat sushi, it's cold and raw, but almost always they're going to bring you either miso soup or chicken soup first. And then they
Mm-hmm.
bring you a salad that's got the peanut and spicy ginger dressing on it. And those are the digestive stimulators. That's
Yeah.
preparation for your body to receive that cold and raw food. That's why they do that. If you go
Mm-hmm.
to a Vietnamese restaurant and get the big bowl of pho, isn't that how you say it? Yeah.
Pho, yes, Vietnamese
Uh,
pho.
I always get that one wrong. And the soup is warm, the broth is warm, but you're at lime and cilantro and mint or basil and the sprouts, which are all cooling. So you're modifying the hot and the cold for the internal environment of your body. So you can think about food in that way. We just want a little bit of this and a little bit of that, so you're not going too far in one direction.
Fantastic. So let's move on to the next question. So we finished talking all about food over here, and then people now have a question. They say, how does eating cucumber or mung soup help with their ovulation or balance the cycle or getting pregnant? How you explain this, Dr. Erin?
So in the summertime, especially as the heat outside and your internal heat kind of goes up, it is easy for. So as I was saying, we want to bring the body temperature down a little bit. That sets up the scene for ovulation. It's protecting those yin fluids of the body that keep the follicle of the ovary nice and moist and tender and juicy. So when the temperature in our body is going up, it can cook the eggs a little bit, and we don't want that. So the mung bean and the cucumbers and some of those cooling foods, they help to clear out inflammation of the uterus through the circulation and making sure that that internal environment stays nice and soft.
Make the womb more receptive. It's rolling out a welcome mat to the baby. If it is nice, cool, not too hot, baby just like, yes, I like that environment.
Right. And on the flip side, like we were saying, but if you do that constantly and you're just cold, and I eat watermelon all day long, it can be too much cold for the environment. You don't want to do that either, which is why you still want to eat some of your food cooked and lightly sauteed. And you want to have some of that warm spleen food like the purple potatoes, because that's what keeps the balance between both worlds.
All right, moving forward. So if someone currently listening to our podcast today, right? She or he probably halfway to the grocery store, and then they probably think, what do I actually eat today? So let's walk them through with some simple meal plan that is friendly, spleen friendly, fertility booster, and dem heat friendly as well. So let's start with the breakfast.
So I think breakfast can be a challenge because people, again, like you don't want a heavy breakfast first thing in the morning in the summertime. So you want something satisfying and hearty, but also not too heavy. So we were talking about porridge in the South where we are. You don't hear the word porridge very much, but basically it's a grain-based soup type thing. You might make it out of rice. I like to make it out of millet. You can make it out of quinoa. It's going to take a grain and you cook it a little longer than you would normally with a little extra fluid, and it softens it up into a little bit of a soup, almost like an oatmeal or like Dr. Pamela was saying. She'll tell you you can do the same thing with grits. Why don't you tell them about the grits?
Oh, so the grits, the way that I make them, right? Same thing like the rice porridge. So you put, I love to do it with my, what's that? The crock pot. Easy. When you're getting ready for work, right? Oh, you need exactly 15 minutes to get it done before I go to work. So basically just put half, not like full cup of grits, just like half. And then you put it there. Make sure you put, the tips is to put a little bit of salt, because salt make it fluffy, just like the rice porridge as well. It make it fluffy. And you just put, where did I do it? With the crock pot, not crock pot, the pressure cooker. You put 5 minutes for the pressure cooker, and then you put porridge for another 5 minutes. So basically it takes 10 minutes to cook the entire thing. And then you take it out, and then you sprinkle with a little bit condiment. I like to use kimchi. Kimchi is lots of probiotic, right? So it's just stimulating everything, but you feel so content. But for those in the South, just for the grits, I like to mix grits with some butter and some blueberry or strawberry. That's how I do my breakfast.
So I'm going to disagree and say you can't put fruit in grits.
That's why I do it. I just make my own.
So I like it to go a little bit more, I like to keep it savory. So I would go grit with tomato and onion, some fresh tomato and onion that gives it some of that punchy taste. Tomatoes are kind of sweet and juicy and helps the grit stay nice and soft. So however you want to do it, you're welcome to try it.
Be creative. Make sure your spleen agree with what you like, want to eat.
That's great.
All right. So, and normally with this type of food, I like to pair it with some hot tea. So mint tea is good, green tea is good, especially during summer, not black tea. Black tea is too hot. Remember, black is for winter, green tea is for summer. That's much cooling. And so how about lunch?
So I like a big lunch. I like to eat a good amount of food in the afternoon because I feel like that's when I'm at my peak of all
Yes.
things. But I don't necessarily want to eat a lot of heavy food. So instead of going for sandwiches and a lot of grilled and toasted with butter and cheese and all that, this is a really good time to have some of that cold salad like we were talking about, but
Yes.
putting some fun toppings in that salad so it's not so heavy, it's not so bulky.
Mhm.
So I usually go some kind of something sweet, like a little bit of fruit chopped up, a little bit of cucumber, some greens. I like a variety of greens. And then I usually like to go with some nuts and seeds to get some good protein in there, maybe a little bit of boiled egg. And I'm an oil and vinegar girl. I just like to go with a really good vinegar and oil. And oh my gosh, it's delicious. And then putting some soup on the side. So especially soup, it's easy. You can make it in a pot, you can make it ahead of time, crock pot, whatever, but just having a nice cup of something warm in a cooked meal, and then that big crunchy cold salad, it's going to satisfy all of your receptors for the heat of the day.
For me, my lunch, because I like to eat rice. Well, I grew up eating rice, right? So not the whole bunch of rice, it's just quarter of the rice, one or two scoop of rice. Then I like my salad in a separate bowl. With the salad first, a little bit of soup. Soup is basically the main staple for every meal because it's basically the soup and the rice, it goes together.
Yes.
And then you have vegetable. That's literally what it is. So sometimes I put a little bit protein since I cannot eat eggs, so I like my meat. So chicken, beef, a good amount of protein for lunch. And like Erin, I like to eat a big lunch. So during dinner time, I'm only eating half of the lunch menu. So because it's gonna help you sleep throughout the night.
Mhm.
During summer season, you don't want to get overheated at night because it's already hot, right? You need the stomach to be less working at night so you can sleep better.
Right. You really want your digestion to be getting really quiet well before bedtime in the summer. Staying up late, the sun is out till 9 o'clock. And if you sit down and eat a big meal of barbecue and stuff like that, you were working on the grill and then you eat this big meal and it's heavy and it's meaty and you go to sleep, you're not going to sleep great. Wake up, you have some blood sugar stuff, you might wake up with a bowel issue, waking up with a hot flash. So we want to put that stuff like way early. If you're going to eat a barbecue, eat that at 3 or 4 o'clock. Move it way up. Your digestive process still pre-active. And I think also nowadays bowls are really popular, and there's so many different ways. There's West bowls, and Mediterranean bowls, and Asian bowls, but it's just like Pamela said, it's some rice and a little bit of protein, and then some chopped veggies, and kind of getting all the categories, but you're getting just a little bit of each, so it's not too much and it's not too heavy. It's a great thing to eat for the lunch break because you're going to satisfy all the different parts of what sounds good, the cold and the crunchy, but also some filling stuff too. But eat that earlier in the day.
Perfect. That's a great tips for everybody that listening. So before we close, right? Some final thoughts. So when you start eating this way, right, you not only helping your body with the damn heat during the summer season, but you also doing your future self a favor. You don't have to drag the extra weight throughout the day, and then you don't feel like a molasses that have to go throughout the season. And then plus, now you are smarter than yesterday because you already know what to eat. It's not just eating two, three foods. Literally, some people, they only focus three types of food. And I'm not sure how they get all these nutrients. But I'm glad that we are sharing this just to give you guys more information on how to eat, not just a balanced food, just give you an idea to eat more nutritious food that helps your body. Dr. Erin?
And it's not eating food for a particular goal. It's not, there's no superfood. It's this one miraculous thing. It's a concept, it's an idea of eating what should be naturally available, eating what grows in a certain season because it's what's meant to restore you in that season. So we're not eating, nobody wants pumpkin spice right now. It doesn't make sense. That's not what your body wants. So we move through the seasons in real time. And it just, again, we always talk about it, harmonizing yourself to what's going on out there. And that's the goal. So it's not just about how many macros or this or that. It's like a concept of eating in a way that is restorative and regenerative and preventative. If you learn
Yes,
how to do this now, you won't have all those problems. Let food be the medicine.
exactly. Right on. So this week we talk about food, but next week you do not want to miss the podcast for next week. We're gonna talk about how to get rid of your puffy face, puffy ankle, puffy knee. So we're gonna do, I'm not sure if we're gonna do a live demonstration, or probably we just have to share some type of thing that you can do at home to help you with not just the puffiness, but help you connect with your heart and your kidney to receive pregnancy, to help you, like I said, to get rid of this crackling joint. Yeah, it's gonna be good. But anyway, thank you, Dr. Erin, for today, and thank you everyone that who is listening. Until next week, take care for now and have a great week.